Hey brother! Oh man, you guys, Infinity War. I am still not done thinking about it. Specifically, Doctor Strange. He vexes me so much. I feel like he's the only person dead today who knows how it's all gonna end. And the thing specifically hanging me up is the number 14,605. It is the number that has been running through my brain for the last week. It is covering our whiteboard and my notebooks and my life. I have resorted to trying to learn complicated math. The reason I got into YouTube, so I wouldn't have to do it ever again. But I feel like it's a worthy cause because understanding the number 14,605 has got to be, it has to be the key to unlocking what is going to happen in the next Infinity War movie. And you know what? I think I might actually have a reason for what this crazy huge big number really means. Hey, did you guys know we have a second channel, Super Carlin Gaming, where Ben and I give advice and answer questions you might have about any theory we've covered? If you'd like us to answer any of your questions, make sure you check it out. Link in the description below. Also, quick warning, if you haven't seen Infinity War, there will be spoilers. Okay, so in case you have no idea why the number 14,605 is significant at all, let's take a step back and do a quick refresher. Infinity War breaks its massive cast up into several different smaller groups, and then much like the Infinity Stones, scatters them across the universe. And throughout the movie, as we visit each group, they are either preparing for Thanos or in the process of losing to Thanos. But inevitably, when he shows up, some character will have to make a big decision. And the decision is always kind of the same. Either give Thanos the stone or somebody else is going to die. And pretty much regardless of what they choose, Thanos gets the stone. With the Space Stone, Thanos is threatening to popcorn Thor's head before Loki says, no wait, please spare his life. With the Soul Stone, there's actually 3 decisions. Star-Lord decides yes, he is going to kill Gamora to try and protect its location, but then fails because bubbles. Then Gamora decides she's not gonna tell Thanos where the Soul Stone is anyway, but then decides to because sister. And then Thanos himself must decide whether he wants the stone or to kill his daughter, and well, we all know what he picks. For the Mind Stone, even though she super doesn't want to, Scarlet Witch eventually decides to kill Vision and successfully does it until Thanos shows up and like any kid with a brand new toy is like, oh, look what I can do. But hands down, the most significant one of these decisions that any character makes has to be regarding the Time Stone, when Doctor Strange decides to give it up in order to save Tony Stark. Which is a weird decision for a few reasons. First of all, because in the first half of the movie, pretty much every single thing Doctor Strange says is either one of 2 things. That he will die or let you die to keep the stone, or even if you kill me, you can't get the stone.
No can do.
It stays with me. I want to protect the stone.
Under no circumstances can we bring the Time Stone to Thanos. If it comes to saving you, or the kid, or the Time Stone, I will not hesitate to let either of you die.
I feel like it gets a little lost when you have to keep jumping around all the different storylines, but if you just watch Doctor Strange like that, it suddenly seems insane that he ever decides to give him the stone. He repeatedly volunteers to die to protect the stone or let other people die to protect it, and he says he also has spells in place that pretty much prevent anyone from getting to it anyway. Like, he has the Time Stone on lock. 100% he can stop Thanos from getting it. And yet, he gives it to him. What gives, Doc? What gives is this. Doctor Strange goes forward in time to view potential outcomes of the coming conflict. And when he returns from this voyage, rather than telling them specifically what they need to do, like this, then we win, he instead gives them a weirdly specific statistic.
How many did you see?
14,605. How many did we win?
1.
14,605? What a randomly specific number, like so big and yet also so specific. God, when I saw this in the theater, I was like, oh, I see what you've done here. I felt like it was literally written for us, the people of YouTube, to collectively be like, what does this mean? Yeah, I see what you're doing. But guess what? We totally fell for it. We took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. You might be thinking, couldn't it just be a randomly chosen, arbitrarily big number to just demonstrate how small the odds are, which, in case you're wondering, are 0.0000007? To which I say, You must be new here. And it's not just us. The internet has been examining this number big time. There's already plenty of theories floating around out there. The biggest one I've seen so far is what I'm calling the log poster theory. The log poster theory goes something like this. If you look at the main promotional poster for the movie Avengers Infinity War, you can count 24 different heroes on it. And if you take the log base 2, stick with me here, of 14,605,000, it comes out to 23.289, the irrational numbers. I know, almost 24, pretty perfect, right? Well, perfect would have been actually 24, but come on guys, that's pretty close, right? And before we continue, I can see that some of you have your hands up. I'm assuming you're asking, hey, not for me, I remember all my pre-calc notes, but just asking for a friend, what does log base 2 mean? Taking the log base 2 of something basically means you're trying to figure out how many variables it would take to come out with that many outcomes. It's like how an ice cream shop can advertise that there's 250,000 different flavor combinations when they only have 18 flavors. That's how many different ways you could combine them. So if we go back to the main poster, we're looking at every single combination of do or don't decision that these 24 characters make. And given that the movie presents us with so many situations where a character literally has to say yes or no in a very binary way, it seems plausible that this is where the number came from. Or so I thought. The problem is this theory breaks down really fast. Like if this is what they were going for, then it'd be easy enough to just use the exact number for 24, which in case you're wondering is actually 16,777,216. Not to mention at least one of these big decisions is made by a character who isn't on the poster, which is Loki. Plus you're assuming that the marketing team was taking this formula into account when they were making this poster, which I'm sorry, but just no. Plus, Doctor Strange is looking forward in time, not back, so all the things that have already happened are kind of set in stone and not changeable based on like his new amount of future outcomes. But so if it's not the poster log theory, then what is it? Well, let's go back and consider the source of this information one more time, because there's one word in there that really sticks out to me.
To see all the possible outcomes of the coming conflict.
The word is all possible outcomes of the coming conflict, as in every single scenario. And when you phrase it like that, I mean, given how many characters are in this movie and how many people are making different decisions and everything that's happening, all of a sudden 14,605,000 seems like a really small number. Like, that's it? That's all the possibilities? Are you sure about that? Because it's called Infinity War, as in infinity, as in more than 14,605,000. And you're telling me there's only one win condition? I mean, heck, they almost beat him right here anyway. No, I think there are way more ways in which they actually win, but that there is a single constant that remains throughout every win scenario. And the single constant is that Tony Stark must survive the battle and must think there's only one way to win. We know Doctor Strange wants Thanos to lose, and because we know that he knows how to win, we have to assume that every action he takes after coming back from the future is in pursuit of ultimate victory. And yet, this happens. Which brings to light a new question. What does winning mean? Does it mean stopping Thanos from completing the Infinity Gauntlet? Does it mean preventing the snap? Does it mean killing Thanos? And honestly, I could probably argue with you about this all day, but what we think isn't really important. What's important is what, one, Doctor Strange thinks winning means, and two, what Tony Stark thinks winning means. For Tony, it's easy. When he asks Doctor Strange how many times did we win, what he means is how many times do we stop Thanos from getting all 6 stones and killing half the universe. For Strange, I think it means something different, but we'll get to that. For now, let's focus on Tony. We don't get to see the conversation they have after he returns with this revelation and wonderful statistic. All we get to see is the plan they apparently come up with according to Doctor Strange and the single win condition he claims he saw. And yet, they lose anyway, or so they think.
Did we just lose?
Now, you could chalk that up to a million things, or maybe even 14 million things. Maybe a single person did one tiny thing different in the battle that led to the outcome that we, the audience, see. easy. Maybe Peter hit Thanos in just the wrong spot with his web, or I don't know, maybe they were like 1 second away from winning and someone flew in out of nowhere and punched Thanos in the face and woke him up and ruined everything. Who knows what went wrong with this fight? And the answer is all of us. We all know what went wrong with this fight. Star-Lord loses control and blows the plan and half of the universe up. Ugh, like what a frustrating moment, am I right? Like how many people left the theater and were like, oh my God, Star-Lord, this is all your fault. But you know what? I think we've all been pointing the collective finger at the wrong person. Because do you know who saw the future and knew this was going to happen and let it happen anyway? Doctor Strange. Because as of him returning, as of Thanos showing up and him sitting there on the ship and as the battle starts, he already knows they're gonna lose. Because according to him, he has seen all of the possible outcomes, and you have to assume he's following through on the one that leads to ultimate victory, so why does he let this happen? Why doesn't he just throw Star-Lord into one of his little ultimate portal loop things?
I have been falling for 30 minutes!
Like, I'm sorry, but he uses the little portal magic like no fewer than 9 times in the fight against Thanos. I'm pretty sure it's the first bit of magic he ever used. It's like the simplest spell and kind of his favorite. He uses it all the time, and yet he lets this happen. And don't tell me he couldn't do it because he was busy pulling on this red cloth thing. Thanos' hand is already incapacitated by Star-Lord's little electrical storm device thing right there. No. Strange knows this is going to happen and lets it happen because for him, winning doesn't mean stopping Thanos right there. It means something else. For Strange, part of winning involves letting Thanos complete the Infinity Gauntlet and letting the snap happen. Because it's not just the Time Stone, it's also the Mind Stone. After he's gone into the future, he should know that the Avengers back on Earth will destroy the Mind Stone and make it impossible for Thanos. Unless, of course, he has the Time Stone. But I think what Doctor Strange sees is that the only way to truly defeat Thanos, to make sure he's not a threat ever again, is to use the Infinity Gauntlet against him, which they can't do if it's incomplete. The problem is they also can't really defeat him with it only 2/3 complete. Like, even if they successfully keep the Time Stone away from him and destroy the Mind Stone, the issue is that he's still the most powerful person in the galaxy, and his mission remains the same, to just kill half of everything. And with the 4 stones he has, he can still pretty much carry out that mission, except that it'll probably be a little slower and maybe in a less reversible way, but he still remains a threat. Strange knows he needs to let Thanos think he's won, to think the battle is over. And in the meantime, minimize casualties. Let's also consider the wording he uses as an explanation for Tony as to why he gives him the Time Stone.
We're in the endgame now.
Endgame is an interesting choice of words, and it's most commonly associated with chess. In particular, it describes the part of the game where, wait for it, big pieces start getting sacrificed so you can checkmate the king. This is exactly what Doctor Strange is doing. Thanos isn't killing off half of everybody. Doctor Strange is sacrificing half of everybody, including himself, in order to win the game. The problem is he's not then around to finish the game. Which brings us back to Tony. Iron Man, the one who started it all, will almost definitely be the one to land the final blow. The foreshadowing for it comes right here.
All that for a drop of blood.
This is what I think Strange saw as the victory condition, that Tony must live. Everything he does from here to here is to make sure that happens. Because after he's seen the future, he realizes that protecting the stones is the wrong strategy. The whole fight on Titan where Doctor Strange pulls every trick out of his bag is nothing more than a facade, a show to fool Thanos into saving Tony Stark. Well, save seems like the wrong word. Not kill? It's all a facade to make sure he does not kill Tony. That's it. And here's the real trick though. He's not just playing Thanos, he's also playing Tony. He needs him to be as motivated as possible, so he lies to him. He tells him there is but a single win condition, and then proceeds to lose, but he leaves him with 2 big hints. We're in the endgame now, and it was the only way. When you combine those two quotes with the 1 in 14,605,000 chance of victory, what you are left with is Doctor Strange telling Tony this: I knew this would happen. I had to let this happen. You can still win. He has to make the odds seem so small that Tony will be willing to risk anything, but also feel like he set him down the right path. So are there only 14,605,000 outcomes? I don't think so. Is there only one way to win? I don't think so. But I do think that every situation in which they win involves Tony being defeated, lost, stranded, and as motivated as possible with nothing left to lose. And that is the strange lie theory. Ben, my question for you and everyone else is, what do you think? Was Doctor Strange lying to Tony? Is he playing a masterful game of chess with Thanos? Let me know your thoughts in the towel section down below. These socks are amazing! Hey brother is obviously the greatest way to greet anybody, whether they're your teacher, mother, dad, cat, dog, duck, or heck, even your brother. But in case you don't want to just scream it at everyone you see, you can always just wear it on your shirt. Available now at SuperCarlinBrothers.store. Guys, thanks as always for watching. Please remember to leave a like on this video and subscribe so you don't miss any future Marvel action from us. If you want to see why we think Loki is still alive, you can check out this video right here. Or if you want to see our full spoiler review of Avengers Infinity War, you can check out this video right here. But Ben, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you in another life, brother.